Dr. Ruth Westheimer has died, and have to say, I remember back in the 80s how much fun she was. So, did tiny little, full of energy Dr. Ruth, as we knew her, did she have a sexy chart? Let's find out. Welcome, my name is Lydia, and this is the Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology channel. So happy to see you today, and sorry to see Dr. Ruth has died. But unlike many of the celebrities that died over this weekend of July 12th, 2024, she lived a long, beautiful life into her 90s. So her birth information is June 4th, 1928 at 4 o'clock in the morning. Her 4 pillars are Yang Earth Dragon for her year, the month of Yin Fire Snake, the day of Yin Wood Pig, and the hour of Yang Earth Tiger. If this kind of astrology speaks to you or you're interested, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. I have lots coming out this week because so much has happened. So I often like to read the charts of famous people because I feel that it helps us to understand our own astrology and our own lives. And so I have been a master Bazi astrologer and Feng Shui consultant in traditional form school Flying Stars Feng Shui since 2002, a very long time. I love this work, fires me up. I find it so fascinating. So first of all, we got to just pause the bell because, oh my God, the fact that Dr. Ruth is born on the day of a pig is not at all surprising because pigs are exactly the way she presented herself. Bubbly, full of energy, and just like boom, right? There she is. And even though the pig is yang water with yang wood, there is this almost fiery kind of attitude to this person because the pig is just so happy being themselves. That's one of the things that I think makes pig people so attractive and easy to hang out with is they're just happy with what is. In yoga, we call it santosha, being content in the now moment. And they love the pleasures of life. Wrap your head around that for a sex therapist, right? Oh my gosh. They are just the easiest people to get along with. They are happy and positive and sensual and warm-hearted. They just gravitate towards the pleasures and the beauty of life. Wow, gorgeous. This woman was brilliant. She was smart. She was a natural educator. And in addition to that, this woman had her ducks in a row. She was organized. She knew how to get her life in a place where it was scheduled and worked and functioned for her. Great, strong work ethic. She could be a little bit feisty. But the other thing is that this woman was born to help people. She had a very strong work ethic and a drive in her to succeed. And maybe she pushed herself too hard. I don't know. Sorry, flies. It's summertime. The other thing is that a strong signature for her was her ability to communicate and to have a sense of humor in the way that she communicated, which we absolutely saw. The combination of someone born in the year of a dragon and the day of a pig is someone that has all of that warmth, warm-heartedness, enthusiasm for life, and this drive. The dragon is like pushing this. And it's almost the image that's coming to mind is someone in a rickshaw, like those carts that people push in India. Like she's sitting in the rickshaw, just, happily adorned, eating something delicious. And the dragon is the rickshaw. That's the thing that drove her to be a leader, to be innovative, and to dream big, to take what she was doing. I think she had like an early sort of version of a podcast or something that took off. And I just remember Dr. Ruth. I mean, the 80s and 90s, I was very young, late teens into my 20s is when I remember Dr. Ruth. And it's interesting because this woman was talking about a topic that in our Puritan United States, which is balanced or imbalanced, actually the paradox is that we have this Puritan approach to our sexuality and our sex, this taboo topic, and yet our country is through the media and fashion and celebrity and movies and entertainment is very overtly sexual. And so it's a very weird thing to have that in our country without being some healthy framework around our sex. And how sex is this beautiful act between two people when it's consensual. Like it makes the world right again, that act that you have between two people. Beautiful endorphin rush, brings you into such a bliss state. And yet, as young people growing up, we really aren't taught or given permission, I guess, to explore our physical body individually and then with a partner. And so there is that awkwardness, those first relationships that you're like, what the heck? How does this work? How does that work? How do I work? Anyway, I'm not going to get into all of that with you, but suffice it to say, being born in the pig day is perfect for her. Of course, that's the way it is. So we break down her 5 pillars. She is a wood person, yin wood. It's balanced at 22%, but weak because she doesn't have much water nourishing her wood. It's kind of like a garden that's forever thirsty, 10%. So water is the element that she really needs, along with metal, because there's hardly any metal at all, 2%. Her chart is very dry, and with all the fire, dry and hot. Don't know the cause of her death, but I would say that if she ever had cancer in her life, it would not be surprising, because we know that cancer thrives in either a cold, damp chart or a hot, dry chart. Either of those great imbalances, because we always, like in nature, are looking for balance. So it is that we also have with her earth element 43%, fire element 28%. So there's a lot of output, a lot of energy into what she's creating and manifesting and controlling. Not so much strength in her career or her marriage. Not to say that those things obviously weren't there, because they were. But what you're looking for is, where does that show up? Now, her life pillar is a yang water dog. That yang water is definitely beneficial. That is like a secret backpack of, water supply for her garden. So it's almost like, even as her garden is dry and thirsty, there seems to always be an undercurrent, an aqueduct of water that is supplying enough. Yeah. So, interesting that in 1977, as she is going into her 50s, that she was in a yang water rat luck cycle. Rat is yin water, yang water sitting on top. This is all this water flowing in, bringing in the qualities of the divine feminine, the qualities of a therapist, the qualities of spirituality, the qualities of outside support. And that could be a grant, it could be a loan, it could be backing for a project like a podcast, just saying. And all of this feels very faith-based, interestingly enough. That's the vibe I'm getting from that decade. But there's a semi-trio with this rat and her dragon, and there's a semi-trio with this rat and her pig. So there's a ton of water coming in. Big backing, big support. It's like all of a sudden, it's a monsoon for Dr. Ruth in this time of her life of 1977 to 1987. In 1987, she is still large and in charge and a big presence. And here, the yin metal pig is directly up against her own pig. This may not have been the easiest time, and yet she is continuing her narrative. And she's getting that support, that water support, along with wood. And the wood in the pig is speaking directly to her taking on a new identity, which she certainly inadvertently wound up with. She wasn't just a therapist. All of a sudden, she is a national persona with a following of people. She's writing books. She's doing stuff. She's out and really large and in charge now. And that yin metal sitting on top of the pig is really talking about career shifts and changes in her career. And not everyone was kind to her. A lot of jokes. And so when we then fast forward to where she is now, 2017, is Yang Earth Monkey. Now we've been talking about this, and actually this has come up a bunch of times, and it will continue to as we get into 2025, year of the snake. Because in her chart, she is a semi-penalty that weakens her own life force of wood. Okay, so this was as bubbly and outgoing as her persona appeared. This was someone whose output was greater than what she had for input of herself and her own inner strength. This could lead someone to kind of rocket fire into celebrity or into success and then have it fade out, which I saw happen. I remember that she was really big, a really big persona, and then it just faded out. So this penalty, weakening her wood, is interesting when you also look at the fact that this decade, this luck cycle, that her last one she was in, ages 89 to 98, 2017, Yang Earth Monkey. And this speaks of fame and success and money. It's kind of feels in some ways like the acknowledgement of her overarching success in her life. And it speaks of family and her work. I don't believe she was still working at this age in her life. But it's very much feels about home, her husband, her family, the nest. And tucked into that is the mother, right? This beautiful energy of the divine feminine and the mother. So all that's looking great until we put that monkey with her Bazi chart and see that this now makes a full penalty. Now, A semi-penalty leans towards someone who, whenever the other component arrives, so if you have a semi-penalty, like she does, you've got 2 animals of the 3 required for the full penalty, you're going to get some aspects of it, but it may not be as badly felt until the full penalty. And that can be a month, it can be a year, it can be a luck cycle. But it is a real risk to your sovereignty. It can speak of death, sickness, bankruptcy, being defamed to the point where you've got no standing in life, massive loss of income, lawsuits. So this being at this stage in her life, looking at someone at 89 to 98 and they're having this full penalty, this just speaks of someone whose life is fading out. Also, look at the fact that as someone who has very little, or weak in water, not a super strong person in their daymaster. And remember, she's born in the month of the snake, which is fire, that's output. And so with that, the day she died was a dragon year, sheep month, ox day, tons of earth. And earth absorbs water. So whatever support she had is gone. Okay, that's your kidneys. They're blown out. Okay, just completely shutting down now. Okay, you also have that wood controls earth, but can't control that much. After all, there's over 40% earth in her chart. So this big surge of earth, her wood can't hold on. It can't give that much. It starts to shut down too. And then the monkey comes in as yang metal, cutting at the tree, because the monkey and the tiger in her chart are a battle of wood and metal. And there's like a trace amount of metal in her chart, but either way, it's a battle in which the wood just can't survive. And then you have the monkey of this luck cycle that again started in 2017 harms her pig, her animal, her daymaster. This is everything, and this harms metal, which is again basically non-existent, and her wood. So there's multiple things happening in this chart since 2017. I would venture to guess that she has been in a slow decline, and it's just a matter of all the right components lining up for someone's life and their body to simply give up. And when you look at the fact, all right, so let's say her wood, her own element, is giving up, can't hold on. All this earth surging in, can't hold on. Plus, dragon year, and she's a dragon year, showing movement. And that movement can be off this plane, out of this life. Can happen. So all of that to say that the pattern of her chart being fire and all that earth being present through the year, and then add the month being earth also, and then the day. It's just too much. So then the fire element begins to give up. It cannot sustain that level. And at that age, it's not surprising. And so, but to highlight mostly what I want to say is how much fun this woman was and what a gift she was to women's sexuality, to bringing sexuality into the conversation and making it something not taboo, but very natural part of our lives. And her career was a Yang Earth tiger. It spoke of someone who would be successful in her job, and would be part of her job would include travel, and that her job would ask her to play multiple different roles, both as a spokesperson, a therapist, and different roles that she played, and that her job was going to be a little bit rebellious, taking people down a path they didn't see coming, and being, someone that was a little bit of a revolutionary in her career. So, all that to say, thank you, Dr. Ruth, and blessings to her family. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, friends, be well.